I think it played a big part in it, but I think more from a standpoint of growing up in this state, you know how important Mountaineer football is to the people of this state. I've been gone from the state for several years now, so it wasn't really so much coming home. It was more of coming to a place where I know football is important to the people of this state and the people of this university, and that was a big thing that I wanted to be a part of.
How much, I mean, you mentioned how much you heard about it, but how much did you pay attention to Mountaineers football over those years that you were in the state, whether you were just growing up or, coaching?
I think as a kid growing up in this state, everything that you do revolves around Mountaineer football, and at least it was that way for me, and not just football, the other sports as well. In my home growing up, if there was a West Virginia event on TV, it was on our TV. And, we watched it as a family. My father was a big Mountaineer fan, and, we spent our weekends a lot of times doing that. So I think you're always following it. When you're brought up that way, you don't lose it. I've always been a West Virginia fan. Even coaching at Stanford, I'm still, following West Virginia and seeing how they do. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are huge fans, so after every game, we talk a little bit about the Stanford game, but then we always talked about the West Virginia games too. So I've been following it as closely as I could.
Can that help you as somebody who I'm sure when you're following the team pays attention to offensive line? Can that help you with an early evaluation sort of process?
Well, I think a little bit, but I think also when you're evaluating your guys, you have to know what they're coached to do. Certainly Coach Beedenbow is a great football coach, and I'm still looking forward to getting to spend some time with him and talk about things. But there's always going to be differences in the things that you emphasize and the way you coach things. So I think it's unfair for me to look at films and just say, well, this guy is not very good at this, or I want this guy to do this differently, because you never know what they're coached to do. It's just like watching high school recruits. You don't know what they're coached to do, so you don't necessarily look at that. You look at their mentality and how they strike people, those kinds of things.
You go from tackles and tight ends to now tackles, guards, centers. What are the changes that you're going to have to make as a coach? And I mean, is it just going back to things that you've already done in the past, just maybe not at Stanford?
I think that's the biggest thing, going back to what I wanted to do with my career. When you're an offensive line coach, you love coaching the offensive line, and you love the mentality of those guys. And I enjoyed coaching, working with the tight ends. I learned a lot in those 2 years, not just about playing tight end, but about that style of offense. But I had talked with Coach Shaw, who's the head coach of Stanford, on a few different occasions, and he knew my love was with the offensive line. That's where my passion was, and this was a chance to get back to doing that.
Thanks, Coach.